Hello, wonderful attendees. I'm your host, Dalvinder Kaur from lovely Professional University. Get ready to dive into today's topic, that is mobile filmmaking. Before we proceed further, allow me to introduce the experts of the day. Dr. Sneha Samadar, Associate Professor and HOD, School of Liberal and Creative Arts, School of Film and TV Production, Lovely Professional University. Her expertise includes world cinema, film movements, and Indian cinema history. With experience in curriculum design, media studies, and gender research, Dr. Sneha actively enrich academia through teaching research and film appreciation. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Ajmal Jami. With the 3 decades of experience in visual communication, he has worked as a director of photography, videography, content creator, and educator. His expertise span television news, mobile journalism, and filmmaking. So now I would like to introduce the admission nominee also in this webinar, Mr. Ashish Kumar Sharma, a former journalist turned academic counselor. With 10 years of experience, currently serving as a senior officer and territory head in tie-ups and public relations at Lovely Professional University. Before we proceed further in today's session, I would like to request everyone for any questions. You can write in the chat box or in the Q&A box, and same will be addressed from my side in the end of this webinar. Now I'm going to hand over this session to our experts, Dr. Sneha and Mr. Ajmal, and it would be an absolute delight to listen from them. Over to you both.
Thank you so much, Miss Dilvinder. It was lovely to hear from you. So today we begin the webinar, which is on a very upcoming and a new topic, but still it is very prevalent, which is mobile filmmaking. And I think after the advent of mobile and technology, the reach it has now, our field, which is filmmaking, has taken this beautiful jump where it has become accessible to everyone, but also the responsibility is also something that everyone should understand. And I think to have Mr. Ajmal Jami sir here, he's one of the best person to have this interaction with. So welcome, sir. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And to just kickstart it, I would really like to know your views on the evolution of filmmaking and how this entire mobile filmmaking has take the world on a toss.
Well, it's an evolution which continues. In that sense, it
Yes.
started 2005, I think. Yes, 2005. 2011, there was a film called Night Fishing, which was made with using an iPhone. The director had put on a 35 camera uh, lens on that, and that film drew on the traditional grammar, on the vocabulary framing of traditional filmmaking, but utilizing the advantages that be there with the smartphone. Um, so that, in a sense, sort of started off this trend. Then there was a film called
Hmm.
Tangerine, which was again a full-length film, um, using the principles of cinematic visual language. Also in terms of editing, you had cross-cutting, and it used an anamorphic adapter to to get that widescreen look. Um, at the same time, again using what you could get with a mobile, for instance, long takes, track shots,
Hmm.
handheld fluid camera work. But this was a very interesting film because it had a very unique, intimate kind of a interaction with with the the characters. Um, he had a film called Rage, 2009. This is It didn't really use a mobile for filming, but it had a mobile phone in the film itself as a character, um, which was a very interesting film. You had another film in 2012, which was designed to be seen on an iPad, shot in London. So you had to download an app, and you know, the route went through the places where the film was shot. So in a way, it sort of melded together this world and that, the world of the fiction which is unfolding, and also that could be interacted with in a physical sense by all the people who
Hmm.
were there on the bus. So that is such an interesting thing. Um, that's a thread we should hold on to, because that is going to happen. In the future, there will be interactive films. You could decide your own plot lines, or you may have
Right.
subplot lines. So that I think that would be there on the cards. 2013, there was a film called The App. So you have to download an app, and you do it before entering the cinema, and then you interact with the through the app with the story. So
Okay.
the plot line had an app, you know, which took over the protagonist. So in a way, it sort of underlined how our reliance on smartphone devices can intrude in our lives, and but that was an interesting theme. The point is
Hmm.
that mainstream filmmakers had begun experimenting with this form. Werner Herzog, the famous documentary filmmaker, he's made a
Hmm.
film called Lo and Behold, Reveries of the Connected World. So, Unseen, that's another one, which
Hmm.
2018. Steven Soderbergh, mainstream Hollywood, big time, big cinema director. He made a film called Unseen in 2018.
Okay.
Steven Spielberg, the famous Steven Spielberg of Schindler's List and E.T. and all of that.
Right.
He's also tried his hand on the smartphone, and
Hmm.
he absolutely loved it. There's some visuals of him having a whale of a time. So he's there on a
Hmm.
wheelchair, and he on a sorry on a chair which had wheels, the kind that we have all around us. And he filmed a music video using that in 2022. Yeah, all of this shot in one single take. So he's being wheeled around, and you can see the joy in his face, which was
Yeah.
wonderful. During the COVID phase, you had Zack Snyder, you know, uh,
Hmm.
again, big times cinema director. In the COVID phase, he made a film using inputs from different people. Selena Gomez, the pop singer, she shot the music video. What is the name? Lose You to Love Me, again
Hmm.
using an iPhone 11 Pro. So you can see how mainstream this has been going.
This has
Lady Gaga,
become.
again, Lady
Yes.
Gaga's shot.
Yeah.
Eminem is shot. He
Right.
used the Google Pixel. Um, Now, as we speak, there is a film called 28 Years Later, which is
Hmm.
being shot with a smartphone. Guess what the budget is? Three guesses. Anybody? It's reportedly has a budget of $70 million.
No.
Um, if I translate this to rupees, it doesn't fit in my phone's calculator. So you can see how big this is getting.
Big. This is becoming.
Vishal
Yeah.
Bhardwaj, he made a film
Yes.
called Fursat,
Fursat.
11 Pro,
Yes. And
14
it's,
Pro.
it's an iPhone
So
film. Yeah.
it's an iPhone thing. Now,
Yeah.
you can see the convergence of these two worlds. This had been thought to be, one little thing that we
Hmm.
carry in our pockets, and we just take selfies with it, and we just take few random videos.
Yes.
But no, that's not the point. I mean, the point is there is a bigger picture, and people are waking up to it, because it does happen to give us so many things that a mainstream big cinema camera may not give. It's going to fit
Right.
into crevices. You have a hole in the wall, you can put in a phone there.
Yeah.
You can film in places where you would not be able to film otherwise using the phone.
Hmm.
So, in a sense, it gives us uh, a wonderful degree of freedom and availability. It's there in a pocket all the time, or maybe by a bedside. We come up with an idea, and we can immediately begin to give expression to it.
Work
So
on it.
this is
Right.
something that has happened, and it has happened at a very, very rapid pace.
Hmm.
I mean, I remember going to Parliament uh, in the early 90s, uh, in the mid 90s, sorry, and there used to be a phone, one mobile phone, only for video, or only for audio communication,
Audio.
32 rupees
Right.
per minute, I think, if that is what the rate was. So communication would be just missed calls. If I give two missed calls, that means this. If I give one missed call, it means this. And from
That
that,
means this.
now easy data availability, which allows you to shoot with 4K resolution or even upwards,
Right.
is a huge traverse, and it's a
Yes.
magnificent journey. And the journey continues, and it will continue largely also because the amount of money which flows in the
Hmm.
smartphone ecosystem is huge.
Huge.
So the
Right.
amount of money that can be put into R&D is huge. The
Hmm.
competition is fierce because the
Fierce.
stakes
Yes.
are very high. Now, one smartphone which catches the people's, it's going to sell off in tens of millions of
Hmm.
instruments. So the payoff is huge, the stakes are huge, the money is huge. So the pace of development is also correspondingly huge. Oh, yes,
Right.
even as we speak,
Hmm.
Ridley Scott, Gladiator, remember? Gladiator,
Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes.
Alien, the Alien franchise, all of that. He's also shooting something using a smartphone currently as we
On
speak.
smartphone. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Definitely, sir. Yes.
that's about,
Yes.
so if big time, directors who are there in mainstream cinema, established, big names, big reputations, if they are using a smartphone as a parallel, somebody who starts from this end of the scale can go on to become that.
That.
So it could be a
Right.
180-degree travel.
Travel.
Um,
Yes.
and everybody, Martin Scorsese, Spielberg,
Hmm.
David Fincher, all of them have this advice to all new aspiring filmmakers. They just say, begin.
Hmm.
You have an idea? Think about it, write it out, clarify the idea, and just begin. And
Start
there's
with
no
it.
other easier instrument than this.
Yes.
Use this and
Than
begin.
this.
Okay, sorry, I
Yes.
just get carried away on my
No,
favorite
no.
themes. Yes.
No, sir, you're absolutely right. In fact, that is where things were different before when you needed to have a camera, you need to have an entire setup and everything. Only then you could actually see your ideas getting into, take form as a picture or a video. But now I think things have changed. This is a very powerful device which now people can use for their own storytelling. But sir, one thing which I would really like to know is how is it different? Is the storytelling different or is it the same? What do you feel?
See, if we talk about documentary situations, let's take it as documentary and fiction. In a documentary situation, we often deal with human subjects, and human subjects have reactions to to whatever is in front of them. Now, a camera may elicit a very different reaction from a smartphone.
Yes.
A camera may usually come with a larger crew,
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
and that in itself makes a difference. So you may have a very different texture of the interaction. And if you're
Right.
looking at, the finer points of human emotion, you may just have something which comes out different from this
From this.
device and with this device. Um, like I said, the smartphone may make filmmaking easy in so many different situations where a camera would be problematic.
Problematic. Yes.
And that continues. There was this whole ridiculous phase where you could not take a camera out on Rajpath. I mean, it's Kartavya Path now. But
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
on that entire stretch, you could not shoot with a camera without you needed police permission and all of that.
Permission. Right.
Very ridiculous. At the same time, everybody is going around with their phones and their mobile, and they're shooting, happily shooting away. The end product was the same. You had
Same.
you had uh, in fiction, yes, you could use this. There are pluses and minuses.
Hmm,
It
hmm,
is
hmm.
not a total substitute for a regular camera, for a bigger
Regular.
camera, because every camera has different specifics. But again, I would say that narrative fiction, that also deals with storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And if your storytelling is compelling enough, then a lot of the minor quibbles are just steamrolled. People are going to accept it. Some years ago, there was a film festival in Scotland. So
Mm-hmm.
you had a very intimate portrait done by a gay filmmaker who documented his own life, etc., etc. That got the top honors as opposed to films which were shot with regular cameras.
Cameras,
Um,
right?
so if you talk about human intimacy, it may give you a certain quality which you don't get with a regular camera. That is much more obtrusive. Uh, it could be a very sensitive story, like for instance, there's been a rape, and that's your protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
You go in with a
Mm-hmm.
with a regular camera, all of that.
Yeah.
That is going to make the act of filming very obvious. If you go in
Yes.
with this, it's so much easier, and there may be lesser potential fallout. You could be just a visitor as opposed to someone who's filming.
Film. Yes.
Um,
In fact, camera as a device itself is people are intimidated to for it. It's not very. It's said to be not a very
yeah,
friendly device for person who's on camera. Not everyone is comfortable with it, and specifically as you spoke about documentaries, there are instances where people are very reluctant to give interviews on camera
yes, yeah, and
because it also needs crew and everything to be managed.
yeah, more people.
Um,
Yes, I mean,
yeah, more.
when I started work, the minimum was 4 people. Now, 4 people going into a situation is very, it's a very standout thing. So the whole nature of the thing changes. Also, the other thing is the B question, the budget question, and the M question, the money question, which is a very dampening thing for most filmmakers. With this, you are freed of a lot of that. Um, for instance, in filmmaking, you have this device called a Steadicam, where you get smoothness. It's mounted on a
Yes,
rig, or you have a
yes.
vest, and then it stabilizes. Essentially, it stabilizes the footage.
Stabilizes the camera, right?
Now, that would be very prohibitively expensive. However,
Hmm.
at the same time, you could potentially be doing the same thing with what is that? With a gimbal.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
It's in the
Right.
box. So something which would have cost maybe $20,000 and upwards. Um, Essentially, in a sense, this would do the same
Yes.
same job.
Yes, sir.
So, in terms of the expression of the visual language, if
Hmm.
if we as smartphone filmmakers are thinking that we are, hemmed in, or we have limitations, we don't really have limitations. In terms of lenses, for instance, that's another advantage that that's cinema has. You can have the capacity to change lenses and to have different points of view. This may come with inbuilt lenses, and additionally, you can have different kind of lenses which are there available, and they can be used to give you a certain visual framing.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Uh, Not just this, but microphones again. You get microphones. So the ecosystem of accessories built around the smartphone is expanding, and I've seen it
Right.
expand. So I've also built up correspondingly in teaching this. I've also built up my repertoire of whatever there may be, and adaptations. So it's not just things which are designed for this, but things which are adapted to film
Hmm.
with the smartphone.
Right.
And again, like I said, it keeps expanding.
Yes. There's a very big market now for these accessories as well.
Oh,
And
it's
with
huge.
the,
It's huge.
yeah, And with the upcoming generation who is so much into social media and wants to tell their story and express themselves, I think this medium has really taken everyone for a ride. Also, the thing here is, there are many technicalities involved. So how do you
Right.
balance that with a camera and a mobile camera?
Um, a camera is designed to give you a certain control over the
Hmm.
over the um, over the whole process of filmmaking. Um, so there may be certain things that the camera is able to give us, which the smartphone may not. Correspondingly, on the other hand, the smartphone does give us certain things which the regular camera does not give.
Cameras
A, it
cannot.
gives us flexibility. Like I said, no, you could say put it up anywhere. Um,
Yeah.
the inbuilt capabilities of the camera in the smartphone are increasing hugely. So the native
Hmm.
camera app, which is uh, uh, inside the phone, it gives us a fairly good, control. Also, we can go to third-party applications to give us more control over the exposure, over the white balance, over the colors, over over the shutter speed, ISO, all the parameters which go into which you see in a regular big camera.
Hmm.
Um, um, what else? Lenses and all, like I said earlier, you can use that. You can use uh, microphones, and of
Mics
course you
and
can use accessories along with that.
accessory.
So if
Right.
a big camera usually is mounted on a tripod.
Tripod. Right.
We all have that image, of that Mitchell film camera, the Mickey Mouse ears.
Yes.
You have those emojis and stuff. You always see that mounted on a camera on a tripod. Why? Or on
Tripod.
a track? Because it needs to be stable. Stability is a thing. Now, and these now have got some degree of inbuilt stabilization. So to a
Yes.
degree it will cancel because these were notorious too for being shaky. Um,
Hmm.
this would remove some of that. Uh, this would remove some of that. And then you get tripods in very different, to this could be mounted on the branch of a tree, assuming my arm is a
Tree.
branch.
Yes. Yes.
So, or on the arm of a chair,
Chair.
or on whatever. You could even mount this on a police wale ka danda to be facetious.
Yeah.
And you know, if he's a
In
kind enough
fact, I
person,
remember there was this one shot in Charulata, Satyajit Ray's film Charulata, where she was on the swing, and he had to mount the
oh,
entire huge big camera, and those times the cameras were really big in size because it was way back,
yes,
and the entire
yeah,
camera was mounted on the swing, and there was this song Rabindra Sangeet which was going in the background, and there's a specific bite that he gave that it was extremely difficult for the actress as well as the director and everyone, because she was very scared what if it falls on her, because they used to be huge in
right,
size during that time. But
right.
as you're showing the accessories right now, I think things have really eased out that ways
Things
to
are
get
really
that
eased
point
out
of
here.
view. Yes, yes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Also, sir, there are these few things which are considered very important when we make film. One is script writing, one is storyboarding, where we
Absolutely.
somewhere write and visualize how to make a film, how to go about it. So, how much important role do they still play in mobile filmmaking, or is it more of a hands-on thing when you make a film on a mobile?
Um, no. You see, the same principles would apply here because the phone, after all, is a tool, as is
Right,
the as is the as is a cine camera.
right.
It's a tool which is designed to capture your thoughts in a certain, within words, filmic framework. So the same principles which we would have a story, we would have a story arc, we would have a certain development, we would have a build up, we would have
Right.
conflict resolution, all of those thoughts would apply here. So the net framework for the film, which is a well thought out film, would be like that. On the other hand, you can very easily, that would be a little reactive. So you are there
Yeah.
in a certain situation and you do it. Uh, but if you want to do something which has got a little more depth and which has got a little more thought and which is a little more worked out, then we need to have a storyline. We need to see if the storyline works for us. We can think of making a Taj Mahal, a cinematic Taj Mahal, but we have to look at practicalities also.
Right.
Um, what are the logistics? Do we have access to a certain area that we think about? So all of these things need to be worked out. So, like as in a regular film, big budget film,
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
needs to be worked out. And you know, the movement which is happening is that even if this is used, a lot of that cinema sensibility is being put to use. And there's
Hmm.
nothing which says that we can't use it. We can use it as well. So we plan big, we think big. The instrument of our execution may be small, but our
Maybe
thought
small.
process is big, is big,
The entire
is
process
big.
is
So
the
we think
same.
about it.
Yeah.
The process is the same. So
Yeah.
we may think, we may have we may need to give thought to it. We can very happily go to a situation and shoot मैं इधर से कर दूंगा मैं उधर से कर दूंगा. That's fine. It works. But then you want it a certain way. So it's not enough to say, I'll take a shot of this person lying down on the bed. Alright, that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
you want to give it greater depth. Lying down, yes, but where from? And do I shoot them in a low angle? Do I shoot them in a high angle? How far should the phone be? I have three cameras here. Now, which one of these three do I use to get shoot?
Used. Yes.
What is the framing? Is there a certain amount of light coming from the left? Uh, there's a window on the right. Should we block the window? Allow just a right amount of light? So, we keep giving it more and more thought. Um, so the more we do this, the more thought we give this, the finer tuned our product. I hate to use the word
Yes.
product, makes it sound like a sabun ki batti. But
The film, the
the finer
production,
tuned
maybe.
our production comes out to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, because as you said, that's very right that the entire process has to be followed, and now this device is more sensitive. It captures everything, the light and everything. They are different. Obviously, it has more evolved features, and it is also meant for not filmmaking purposes as well. So it is very receptive and very sensitive towards things. So that is also something that we have to keep in mind. So, sir, just tell me one thing: what are the very common mistakes that new mobile filmmakers make?
One mistake that is often made is not having enough clarity.
Hmm.
A, about the subject, B, about how to go about it, C, what to do with what we have got. So all of this then needs a little thought. You go into something, you have a storyline, you think of a storyline. It's not just enough to go,
Hmm.
okay, यहाँ से, you इस दरवाजे से निकल लेना, not निकल लेना, okay, but निकल लेना, you need to have a little greater depth in that. So the act of
Hmm.
exiting a door, is there a certain kind of light which is falling? What is again, what is the composition? In an over the shoulder, in a long shot, in a mid long shot, what? And each of these would
Right.
have a certain meaning. So as filmmakers, we need to be aware of what all of this means. So we
Hmm.
can just do this as a random act,
Hmm.
and we can have a
Right.
whole succession of these random acts which are connected together to give us a production. Or we can have something which has got more depth. We give it thought, we think about it. We may even go to the extent of making a storyboard, which is
Right.
essentially a very visual depiction. It's like a graphic
Yes.
novel on paper. And some of
Yeah.
the big it's a very big cinema thought process. Um, Over time, we are going to not just shoot with our, our neighbor's young son, but we may be in a position to be hiring actors, and we may
Mm-hmm.
be, smartphone filmmakers. But as our logistics expand, we need to have clarity. And that
Mm-hmm.
clarity
Right.
can only come when we sit down with our thoughts and literally put pen on paper or, put finger on smartphone notepad, and we just put it down. We just refine it. It goes through a
Right.
churn. Sleep over it. In the morning, you will have a very different view of things. Things connect.
Mm-hmm.
And often at night, when you sleep over things, then you may have a greater connectivity over what you do. Um, I don't know. Does that answer your question or? Uh,
Yeah, it does. It does. Also, as you mentioned, like something like storyboarding, when you're working with a film camera, cine camera, you have these three, four people who are with you. So you have that, particular role that you're playing. You're behind the camera, and there are people who are doing their own work as well. But with the mobile camera, you have much liberty. So is that also affecting the type of content that is being made? Would you like to comment on it? That a person has a total liberty, and as you mentioned, you have to go through the entire process, but sometimes they might be skipping it, or they aren't.
yeah.
What is your take on it?
Um, if you are, if you're a, if you're the within quotes the solo filmmaking unit, it gives you a huge sense of expansion of your own being. So nobody,
Right.
there's nobody around. Uh, but then again, in a bigger film, then there may be people who are noticing that you have
Mm-hmm.
a shot which is set up, and somebody looked into the camera and ruined it. You may have more helping hands on film, literally, so to say. So there may be more inputs which are targeted at specific bits of the production process. Usually, I'm saying usually in a smartphone, in a small smartphone production, you may not. However, there's nothing which says that you cannot have it. And sometimes it would be advisable to have it. So get more people on board. You could be filming yourself, or you could be having somebody else film for you. It is your vision as a director. So you work in tandem with different people. It becomes a team effort. And that sometimes works very wonderfully on both big cinema as well as here. In big cinema, maybe not, people are not as, may not be as open because a certain director may have a certain absolutely ironclad vision. Out here,
Right.
anybody can contribute. It's up to you as a
Contribute.
director to, to accept it. Um, it's a
Okay.
brainwave, it's a unit. It becomes a team thing. Film is also a team thing, but it's a slightly
Mm-hmm.
different. The texture is a
Slightly.
little different. Over
Yes.
there, things are more slotted.
More
So you may have
categorized, I
silos,
think,
more
stratified. Yeah.
category, yeah.
Yes.
Stratified. That's the word.
Yes.
Hierarchical, perhaps, if that's the word to use. Out here, it's a little more flatter.
Flatter.
You could be
Yeah.
working with your
The
best
the
friend
profiles somewhere
who,
merge, overlap. Yeah. So that
yeah.
is
So yeah.
that's
So
there.
there's overlap. Um, Ego shouldn't really come into a play,
Hmm.
which has been known to happen in big cinema. I mean, as well as here. Out here, we put all of that aside because our
Yes.
idea, our intention is to create a masterpiece using a smartphone.
Right. So, sir, since we are making a film on the mobile, how do you edit a film on mobile? Do you recommend few softwares? What are the softwares? And specifically for sound, what do you suggest?
You have different apps that you can use for editing. I mean, you have KineMaster, you have Power Director, you have InShot, you have VN,
Hmm.
um, Luma Fusion. Luma Fusion is very good and it gives you a lot of layers. So what you get with that is almost like what you would get with a desktop uh,
Okay.
editing setup.
Mm-hmm.
So, everything there is contained in one unit. Uh, while shooting, you could be using the native app, or you could be using other apps like Filmic Pro, Blackmagic Cam, uh, Moment, uh,
Okay.
Filmora. So you
Mm-hmm.
have a whole set of different apps which will allow you flexibility and control over what you are filming and how you're filming it. You can lock your exposure. You can choose a certain color tone for your for what you're shooting. You could maybe, you could be thinking of flashback, for instance. So you can have it in monochrome. So you would get all of that flexibility using different apps. They would allow you control over the sound. What is
Mm-hmm.
the level at which I'm recording sound? And sound, of course, is a very critical element. Uh,
Yes.
as the saying goes, the audience will accept a bad shot. They will not accept a bad sound. Because a bad
Sound.
sound is very grating, disturbing,
Yeah.
irritating, annoying.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. So. Yeah. So if we move ahead, because we are talking about softwares, so let's talk about this entire new thing that has evolved. It's not new, but it has been there for some time. The artificial intelligence, and for a field like films, which we often say is very creative and it is a personal perspective and it's used for storytelling. What is your take on this artificial intelligence that is taking a different toll altogether?
um, well, it's a very it's a ticklish thing because ultimately, why a film's made?
Right.
The point of making a film is to have a certain sense of your own vision and your own creativity. And if you sort of sublet that to a different mechanistic process, then are we as artists happy internally, or are we just you know uh, told somebody else to fill our exam paper?
Yeah.
You know there could be certain things which may be of help. You could use an AI tool to say clean up the audio and there's too much of background sound. Yes,
Right.
perhaps in all of that. But then to have the entire process taken over by somebody is like, all right.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, write me a script. Um, you know,
Yeah. So whose story is it exactly?
is that the same thing? I mean,
Yeah.
you are educators. You know how it
Yeah.
works.
We are facing
Um,
it on a daily
we're all
basis.
we've all we've all faced this, but it's
Yeah.
it's where does it leave us? I mean, is the point. Why do people write novels?
Exactly.
You have something inside you. You need to
Something
give it
inside.
expression.
You want to
How do you do
express.
this?
Yes.
You
A
want to
software
express
cannot
yourself. You
express
don't
that
want
for
to.
you.
Yeah, software. Yeah, I mean, though software is now beginning to make things.
Yeah.
Uh, you have AI films. I mean, you have people who sort of
Yes.
there's
Yes.
uh, there's something on the Hobbit,
Mm-hmm.
but right now it looks like artificial intelligence has made it. So
Yeah.
there's a certain look uh, to what is made. Uh,
Okay.
again, I think
Yes.
eventually there's nothing
Yeah.
which is really there for human, the human
Human.
factor. I think still is to be there.
Right. One last question, sir, from my side. What is your message to the students who really want to make a career in mobile filmmaking?
My message to them is you have the phone with you all the time. Don't use this as a device for recreation or for mindless scrolling through Instagram. Um, if you make reels, okay, fine, please do that. But then, take it beyond. expression, your expressivity. Think big, there's something which is very important, which is our own personal histories
Right,
within the family. You have elders. It's a world in transition. We
right,
need to document this before it's gone. You lose one elder, you use a whole universe. And I'm
right.
seeing four faces here. All of us have seen this. I don't know about Miss Kaur. Have you seen anything like this? You have an elder who goes. The entire family history sort of goes with them. Use this
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
tool. Document this before it's gone. Um,
In
I mean,
fact, there's
that
a
is
saying
one.
that
But
when an old man dies, a library burns.
absolutely. Oh, that's so brilliant. That just says
Yeah.
it. Um, and this as a tool sits with us all the time. We have an idea, write it down. Just begin. Don't overthink. Just begin. That's the thing. Just begin. And that's the advice that, everybody, all these, Spielberg has this same advice.
Mm-hmm.
Scorsese, Martin Scorsese, same advice. David Fincher, same advice.
Sure. Thank you so
These
much,
are
sir.
series
It
that I know
was,
offhand, but
yeah,
we just just go ahead. Don't
go
overthink,
with it.
don't over criticize yourself. Just do this as a piece, and then get back and then review it and see this is what
And
I would
then
have done.
reflect.
This is where
Yes.
then reflect.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay.
10,000 hour rule. Somebody enunciated, they said, you want to do
Mm-hmm.
something well, you need to spend at least 10,000 hours doing it.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. It was lovely talking to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sneha, and our guest, Mr. Ajmal Chami. Thank you so much, sir. So it was wonderful watching you talking on mobile filmmaking in depth. Now, I would request to our admission nominee, Mr. Ashish Kumar Sharma, to be on the screen. Over to you, Mr. Ashish Kumar Sharma.
Thank you so much, Dalwinder ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ajmal Saab. Your professional expertise and your elderly advices certainly help our youngsters, and it will certainly help us to build the nation strong, right? Uh, by starting with the institute as an admission nominee, I would like to enlighten some things, some suggestions. These are my suggestions to all the aspirants, those who are looking for film and TV production. Uh, Higher education, if they are looking it in the north India, or maybe in the middle India, or maybe in the down south, they must look upon few things. Is the university is accredited? Do they have good accreditations? Then do they have faculty expertise? Do they provide hands-on experiences? Do they have expert advisors with them? Do they will get opportunities to meet the experts like Ajmal Saab? He's from FTI, and the expert faculties like Dr. Sneha. They are marvelous while they are teaching into the classrooms. And the infrastructure. Infrastructure, of course, infrastructures are not bricks and buildings, but the uh, things what we are providing inside the buildings, right? So let me start. Please confirm, Dalwinder, whether the screen is visible or not. I'm going to share. Is my screen is visible now?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Thank you so
Yes,
much
you
for
can continue.
confirming, Dalwinder ji. Right. So, starting with the lovely professional university, we are, of course, we are India's largest and most prestigious private, self-financed private university, and this is something we need to flaunt about. Now we are NAC A plus plus grade. We are having this grade with the prestigious score of 3.68 on scale of 4, which is number one amongst all private universities of India, right? So this is something which I really need to flaunt about. And in addition to this, now we are having a number one grant of graded autonomy. and this is something we are considering it into the college of the recent years. And other accreditations are also there. This is for the agriculture one. UGC accreditation is there, and we are at the 27th spot in NIRF ranking, which has been proclaimed by Ministry of Education and Government of India. Right. So in our WURI, we are at the fourth spot. Times Impact ranking at number two spot. Times Higher Education, we are at the very good. Uh, in India, we are on the sixth spot. Then, if I talk about the memberships, we are Association of Indian Universities. We are a member of Association of Indian Universities. Even we are the member of International Association of Universities. This simply, it is evident. It is quite evident that if the institute is a member of such prestigious institutions, they are certainly going to help you out to provide opportunities to showcase your talent at national level and at the international level. Right. So it is very important to check whether the institute is having such memberships, such accreditations with them or not. It simply declares that they are going to provide good opportunities if they are having such accreditations and memberships with them. So, if I talk about the campus facilities in lovely professional university, smart classes, extensive libraries, and advanced infrastructure, whether I talk about the studios, the cameras, and the other equipments which are very high tech, and at least they are uh, well equipped to make good films while studying in the School of Film and TV Production, right? So here comes the glimpses of LPU Sports. It is an inside auditorium in the lovely professional university. We are now into the habit of, making Olympians with us in the recent Olympics at Paris. In the Indian contingent, we have had our students, and we have got very good number of medals for LPU and for the India. So this is the proud thing which I'm announcing. So residential services, it is a marvelous feeling away from home. You are having a stay in another home. In research and innovation, excelling gradually. 26,000 plus public are there. Placements, it is not full production, but yes, the number and the amount it for the youngsters aspiring for the higher education. 5 crore package. Placement day, we have recently celebrated this day with 1,700 students, those who have secured jobs above 10 lakh rupee per annum. These are things, I was talking about the infrastructure, and infrastructure doesn't mean building and bricks, but infrastructure is all about this. I usually use the word inclusive growth, right? So inclusive growth, when you are growing all around. So if you are getting a chance to perform in the events, to cover such events, right, and to experience such events, kind of fashion shows and other other extravaganza festivals like things, we are every year annually we are celebrating two fests, one India and one world, where all the students, those who are from different cultures, different states, they showcase their own their own culture in the different genres. So you will while studying in School of Film and TV Production, you'll have a chance to learn such things, right? So these are the things which I count in the infrastructure as well. Visitors and the speakers, they are very important aspects of the learning, right? So it is very important to have uh, visitors of very high statures. They are inspiring to teach you, to make you learn something from their struggles, right? So Tony Abbott, MS Dhoni, from Narendra Modi ji to Javed Akhtar Saab. So such celebrities, such guests, they usually come to LPU to teach our students. So we are also providing scholarship opportunities. We always respect academic excellence on your even on your previous qualifications. Suppose if you are in 12th standard right now, you are appearing in 12th standard and you are looking for the higher education. Even we will try to accommodate your good percentage of your 10th standard, right? So special scholarships are also there for the toppers of the education board. No matters it is which board it is, CBSE or any other state board. If you are a if you are a topper in your board, 100% scholarship will provide you. Then here it comes a very you know very dynamic feature of the lovely professional university, which is Rakshak Samman Anudan and Shikshak Samman Anudan. Here the Rakshak means the defense forces of our nation: Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy, and the other CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces. And then the Shikshak Samman Anudan. If you are a ward of a teacher, if your parents are from the teaching fraternity, you will get extra 20% aid for such categories. In sports, we are already excelling, and still the history is into the making every year, and I hope every year we will be into the Olympics. And as I have already told you, that we have make a habit now to generate Olympians and to bring the medals for the nation. So I hope it will be continue. Few other achievements, I've told you that we are the member of Association of Indian University. So this year LPU has won overall championship, and this is for the second consecutive year we have won this trophy for lovely professional university, and it has held among 3 crore students. Some other achievements while performing in AIU inter university championships. So now let's go live. I'll tell you how to apply from LPU's website. Simply the URL is lpu.in, and this is the home page, right? And from the right side, you can view the button of apply now. You can simply click on it and you can register yourself. If you will go in the admissions tab after 12th undergraduate program in the film and TV production, we are having 2 programs: BSc Film and TV Production. This is a 3 years duration course, and B Design Film and TV Production. It is a 4-year degree course. And let's have a look on B Design. If I talk about the eligibility criteria, one must have 50% marks in 12th standard and English must be studied, right? And if you are for that sort of percentage, then we have certain criterias of 5% of relaxation to northeast states and second candidates. And if you are from the defense personnel, if you are dependent of any Kashmiri migrant or a defense personnel, you may get 5% relaxation in that too. So after the graduation, we are providing MSc Film and TV Production. So let me take you to the film and TV production schools site. Such sort of infrastructure we do have. Some tie-ups: Shoot Order, Republic Bharat, ANI, Hindustan Times, Amazon, Disney Hotstar, Colors, Pinkvilla, right? Chopal. Some rankings I've already told you about. The see the consoles. You can see the studios, library, some projects, Musafir, Naina, Triveni, Swiping Love, Time Paradox. All these projects are being made by the students of Lovely Professional University and School of Film and TV Production, right? So this is all about the Lovely Professional University's tour, and that is all from my side, Dhalvinder.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashish. As I can see, there are some questions from our participants. Can we take the questions, Mr. Ajmal, Dr. Sneha, and Mr. Ashish?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
we'll take
absolutely.
the question regarding admissions. First, Mr. Ashish. Someone is asking, how are the placements done in LPU and what's the process?
Well, I'll talk about I'll sum up with all the programs right from the beginning, from the first semester itself. We are offering PEP programs, that is professional enhancement programs, and one can participate in it, and they can register themselves for the placements. Like I have already told you in the other domains, in CSC or in other engineering programs, uh, we have. 1,700 students. Recently, we have celebrated the placement date for 2025, and they were placed. All of them have placed more than a package of 10 lakh rupees per annum. So the placement is in TV, film and TV production. I must say it is a very skill oriented program. It is a everyday learning process, and if if you are if you are skilled enough, you are going to get good jobs in the industry. But the best part of Lovely Professional University is what we are also making you to learn the marketing skills, the public relation skills, and uh, how to sell yourself, your skills into the industry. This is very important. If you are skilled, you are not able to communicate well in the industry, you are not able to make your relations in the industry, it is not worthwhile. So all these things we are making them to learn in Lovely Professional University. Our faculties, they are expert in teaching all such things to them. So according to me, yes, certainly they are getting very good placements, but the freelancing is one of the great genres of film and TV production where you can excel yourself up to the eternity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashish. Gurpreet is asking here, what are the key ingredients, what are the key advantages and challenges of using a smartphone for filmmaking compared to traditional cameras? Dr. Sneha and Mr. Ajmal, can you please
I
answer
think
this?
Ajmal Saab would be the suitable person to answer
I
this.
think, well, the key advantages firstly is accessibility. First off, with a camera, you will need to either have it yourself, which is a big investment, which sometimes is a really big investment because then it's not just the camera, but it has lenses and all of that as well. You will need a crew. So all of this presumes that you will need to be, making preparations in advance, um, which also is tied into cost. Cost is a big factor. Even if you're renting a camera, you still are incurring costs. With a smartphone, you have your own smartphone, or you can borrow it from your friend who has a better smartphone. Big advantage. You can't really do that with a film camera. Accessibility in terms of use, because you can use it in places where you will not be able to use a bigger camera. You may need prior permissions. With a smartphone, you will be able to shoot in so many places. Um, Maybe you have a storyline which involves you shooting in a certain place. It could be anything as simple as a monument, for instance. A camera is going to raise alarm bells. With a smartphone, yes, you will be able to do it. Uh, it's not just the camera, but it's also all the things which come with this. You may need a professional sound gear along with the camera. With this, you get microphones which you are able to use with a smartphone, which are geared only to be used with a smartphone. Um, Yeah, I've got a whole box load of these. Don't know if you were able to see it, but yes, you know, an equivalent uh, microphone for a bigger camera is going to be a cost. Out here, it's a fraction of that same cost. But at the same time, in terms of storytelling, you could be telling the same story using that. You could be recording the same sound there and this. Use that high-end microphone. Out here, you can use it. You can use a microphone like this. So accessibility in terms of ease of use, in terms of you having it with you all the time, that's a really major factor. Um, uh, a cine camera would give you a certain quality, which the smartphone may not be able to give you now. But you see, there is a convergence happening. What you had in the smartphone 5 years ago, you have what you have now, huge difference. And it's only accelerating. If you have big time filmmakers who are you beginning to use the smartphone, if not entirely, but then at least in certain selected situations, then you know that you are, in a position to be doing the. After all, it is storytelling. You do it with
Right.
this, you do it with that. If your story is compelling enough, that's it. And also in terms of the output, now you have so many different channels. You can put it on online platforms. You can send it to now mainstream film festivals would accept what you do. So if it meets their criteria, you can send your film made on the smartphone to them. You have film festivals which are dedicated to only the smartphone,
Mobile filmmaking, yes.
only to mobile filmmaking. So you see
Yeah.
the universe of filmmaking using the smartphone is expanding, and it doesn't need a Hubble's telescope to see it. It's there right in front of you.
Right in front, right.
Um, so do it. As the Nike ad says, just do it. So think about it and just go ahead and do it. It's not film. You're not shooting on something which is can be used only once, as in the earlier days. You can reuse your phone memory again and again and again and again and again. That's one huge advantage that you have over old filmmakers. Imagine how difficult it would have been for them, which is a whole webinar in itself about how it used to be there and how it is now.
What is now?
So you have this ease. So put it to use and try and get some of that thought process into this, that discipline, that thought, the arranging of thought, and that the whole refining of your core idea. You use those same principles, and you use this with the smartphone. So to look at your question again, there are differences, yes, but there are convergences also. And at the end of the day, it is storytelling. Period. If it connects with the audience, yes. You can have something which is made, very big budget. Audience doesn't like it. They'll walk out
Like,
halfway through. They'll say, "Kya bakwas banai hai." Now you could have spent crores doing on that, but you could have something. You spend 250 rupees. You treated someone to tea and coffee, and you have something which comes out on your smartphone, which absolutely stuns the world. So as they say, the ball is in your quarter now. So you just go and give it a thought and just and if you enroll, then that gives you a framework of thought. That's the point.
right.
Thank you so
You've
much.
heard of the we've heard about the chimpanzee who took his own selfie. No, not to deride selfies, but you have this chimpanzee who took this selfie, and
Yeah.
so the phone makes it that easy. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So you can make something which is just a collection of shots, but it doesn't connect. So you give it thought. How do you give it thought? You learn. How do you learn? You if you enroll in a film school, then you have a certain framework which sort of builds around you, and you can work using that.
Thank you so much,
And Mr. Ashish should be
Mr.
able to help you better there.
Thank you so much, our experts, today's experts, Mr. Ajmal Jami and Dr. Saneha Samadar, and once again, thanks to our admission nominee, Mr. Ashish Kumar Sharma. I hope all the participants got their answers from our experts. As we come to the end of this webinar, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our experts for sharing their valuable insights and expertise with us. Your presence, enthusiasm, and active participation have made this experience truly special. Hopefully, the attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize the information for better decision making regarding admissions. If anyone wants to access this webinar again, they can visit our website, that is lpu.in, or can be accessed on YouTube also. Stay connected with us for future webinars. Until we meet again, with the permission of my seniors, I would be signing off this webinar. Take care and goodbye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here and to